Good morning, boys and girls. Okay, we are on the final part 4 of the one and only Bob. What's going to happen to Bob? What's going to happen to Ivan? What's going to happen to Ruby? Are they going to get back to the wild animal park, the zoo, their habitat? Who knows? What's going to happen to Boss and Rowdy? Aftermath. We've lost 10 park residents total, 8 deaths plus 2 still missing. No humans died, but were some injuries. They've already started rebuilding. It's funny the way people go back right after a tragedy. Everyone comes together and lots of talk about the community and blah, 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 blah. They are a resilient species. I'll give them that. It's been 3 weeks and we still do not have Kimu back. Susie either. There have been some sightings, but nothing for sure. I worry they can't last long. Wolves aren't native to this part of the world. I think, I like to think, that they're together at least. Everybody else is back with a makeshift domains. Nobody's complaining though. In spite of all the construction, Julia's been taking me to see Ivan and Ruby whenever she can. Today, Ivan leans on a temporary fence separating him from the elephants. Maya made him a medal for valor out of watermelon and cucumbers. He's eaten most of it. It's pretty good. Great. Almost everybody we've saved from the shelter ended up with a home, says Ivan. Even that annoying bunny. Almost everyone, I remind him. I'm so sorry about Boss, he says in a gentle way. From what we can tell, Boss never went into the donut shop. She slipped away, and no one knows what happened to her. I try not to feel hurt, but I had this silly fantasy about me and her and Rowdy all hanging out together like family. And I so wanted her to know what it's like to have a warm bed and a full bowl and a good ear scratching whenever you need it. I wanted her to know she deserves that as much as any other dog. I guess she's lived life too long in her own terms, or maybe she's afraid to get her hopes up, to trust. I understand. Been there, done that. But sometimes humans don't let you down. Sometimes they can even come to the rescue. A riddle. Uncle Bob, Ruby calls, galloping over. She seems more confident these days, a little more grown up. Stella would be really proud. I know I am. Want to hear my new riddle? Absolutely, I do. Ruby flaps her ears. She does this when she gets excited. What has an eye but cannot see? I'm perplexed, Ruby, pondering and puzzled. A hurricane! She exclaims. That's a good one, Ruby. First rate. I look at Ivan and we smile at each other. We don't say anything. It's enough to listen to the palm trees rustle and watch the saw grass away. Working on it. On my way home, we pass the shelter. It's been patched up pretty well. Looks like they're back in business. I hear the usual yelp and howls and hisses and meows. And like always, I feel lousy. I plop down on the sidewalk and Julia stops walking. What's going on, Bob? She asks. I listen, like I always do, for the bark. That bark. Nope, nothing. I wish Rowdy were here to distract me, but he's still learning how to walk on a tug of war string. He's a pretty swell pup, even if he's a little feisty. I'm surprised how much I like having him around the house. It's weird. I feel responsible for the little guy, sort of like he's becoming my numero uno. Julia bends down and strokes my head. I wag my tail a bit, slowly stand. I think of poor old Drulis stuck in the backyard day and night. I think of Boss roaming the streets, and I think of my siblings in the dark night, the box, the highway. I'm trying hard to find the forgiveness that seems to come so naturally to other dogs. Maybe it's what Boss was getting at. Maybe it's easier to forgive others once you've learned how to forgive yourself. I'm working on it. It's like a bone. Sometimes you have to chew for a long time before you make any progress. Snickers again. Once we're home, I head for the couch. I'm snoozing peacefully with Rowdy when I smell a doozy of a smell. Assaults my snozzle, which is finally back to work in order. It's her! Snickers is back. She's been gone for a while, and after the hurricane, they had to do some repairs to Mac's house. Not sure where Snickers has been staying, but that's definitely her smell. No doubt about it. I dive under the couch, but not before Nitwit appears to the front window. Oh, Bobo, he calls. Someone's looking for ya. I'm not home, I yell. Yeah, I don't think she'll take no for an answer, says Nitwit. Shouldn't you be rebuilding your nest? Yeah, watching you cower in fear is way more fun. What's the deal, Uncle Bob? Rowdy asks. Be afraid, Rowdy, I say. Be very afraid. The door opens, and there's Julia with Snickers by her side. Well, hello there, Snickers, says Sarah as she passes through the living room. What are you doing here? Mac and his wife just moved in, Julia says. They called this afternoon and said Snickers was dying for a walk. I ease back a little bit farther underneath the couch. Can Snickers see me? Maybe not. But she most definitely can smell me. For once, I regret my pungent aroma. Pungent! We know that word! Snickers darts across the living room straight to the couch, pulling Julia aside along for the ride. Snickers, Julia exclaims. Slow down, girl. She kneels. Bob, are you hiding underneath there? I move an inch, exposing my snout. Snickers goes insane. She yanks free of her tug-of-war string, and for a moment she pauses to do a polite nose tap with Rowdy. Then she lets loose with zoomies and yips and howls of joy. Bob, Julia says, come on out and say hi. I pretend not to hear, which isn't a big stretch since Snickers is barking like a maniac. Robert, says Julia. Fine. I belly crawl out until I'm exposed. Snickers is ecstatic. She shows me with her licks and nips and nudges and leaps. Bob, she croons. Oh, how I've missed you. I cover my head with my paws, but there's no escaping her adoration. There's a reason we survived, Bob, she says, her fuzzy tail in high gear. The fates want our love to blossom. Is this your girlfriend, Uncle Bob? Rowdy inquires. Girlfriend today, Snickers responds in a giddy voice. But you know what tomorrow may bring. Perhaps you should start calling me Aunt Snickers. I am relieved beyond measure when Julia finally pulls Snickers with great effort out the door. I try to ignore Nutwit's teasing. I try to tolerate Rowdy's stifled laughter. But when Minnie starts chanting Bob and Snickers, followed by moos sitting in a tree, I have had enough. I head for the doggy door, ignoring the popcorning guinea pigs, and try to locate my dignity. A visitor. In the evening, it's like lots of other evenings. The guinea pigs are squeaking, Nutwit is puttering around his tree, Julia and Sarah and George are watching something about meerkats on the Nature Channel. And I've just settled in with Rowdy on the couch when George drops a cookie on the floor. I leap into action. Robert, says Julia, leave it. Briefly, I consider my options, but not for long. At least I share a piece with Rowdy. You are hopeless, Julia says, but I love you anyway. And that's when I hear the bark. It's coming from the front porch. It's a little weird, says George. I'll check it out. Julia runs to the door and pulls it open. She hesitates. She looks over at me, back at the porch, and back at me. Bob, she says, I think it's for you. And it is. Who do you think it is? Waiting at the doorstep. I hope you know. I hope you think. I hope you infer. All right, that's the end. The one and only Bob. And if you've listened to the whole story that I've read, I'm going to cross my fingers and my toes that you have taken a moment and you can take an AR test if you really, really listen and comprehend. Which one did you like better? The one and only Ivan or the one and only Bob? Have a good day.